All right, episode 28 of the Michigan Sports Truth Pod. Episode 28 of True Sports, rather, is on the air. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenore. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing great, Taylor. Thanks.
Good. So, right now, the New England Patriots lead the Arizona Cardinals 20-13 on Monday Night Football.
Yuck.
Yeah, I think we're in the fourth quarter now.
We are.
Yeah, I saw that defensive touchdown on a fumble that put the Patriots in the lead earlier in that third quarter. But overall, we got the Seattle Seahawks losing to the Carolina Panthers. Key loss there for the Seahawks. The Lions beating the Vikings. My Lions beating the Minnesota Vikings. Not only beating them back, but beating them by 11 when they were 2-point favorites.
That was a shock. That had to be the shock of the week.
Yeah. It is the shock of the week. It is, really. The Lions, what's even more shocking, they started 1-6. Now they're 6-7.
I don't believe it.
Kidding me?
No. I mean, the Lions have been a joke for who knows how long, and now that 6 weeks later, we're thinking they might be in playoff contention.
Yeah, and they're still on the hunt. Just one game away from 500, and they got the New York Jets next up on the road in New Jersey in East Rutherford at MetLife Stadium. They have to go there again. I know that, but they beat the Giants there. Yeah, they beat the Giants there, but they just have.
Yeah.
But same place. The Lions are 1-point favorites against the New York Jets, who lost to the Buffalo Bills 20-12. Jets are slipping. So are the Seahawks. Both the Jets and Seahawks are 7-6. Yeah, they're slipping big. Both are slipping big time. But the Lions are scratching and clawing their way right up there. And if they beat the Jets, they got the Bears and Packers next up. Let me look at the schedule right here.
Bears are a joke.
Yep. Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers has already become a geriatric, and his Packers are
right.
Yeah, the Lions play the Packers on Week 18. In Week 18 at Lambeau Field, the Lions have the Carolina Panthers.
My goodness.
At Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. That's another. That's another difficult game. The Lions, Lions and Panthers in Week 16.
Yeesh.
Yeah, their only home game left is against the lowly and struggling Chicago Bears. Yeah, that's on December. Yeah, that's on January 1st. That's Week 17. That's the second to last game, last week of the NFL 2022-2023 regular season. It's been taking long, I tell you. Lions and Panthers, Christmas Eve. It's almost that time, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's 13 days before Christmas, and the Lions are catching up. They do have a brutal schedule, but the Lions game in Charlotte is an almost winnable game, but the Panthers.
It should be.
It should be. Yeah, but you see the way the Carolina Panthers stole one in Seattle.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure nonetheless, the Lions are going to be up to the task, win or lose. They just have to keep playing smart football and aggressive football. and consistent football too, just like they played yesterday against the Vikings at Ford Field. So the Jets and Panthers should be interesting matchups for the Lions.
It should be.
After that, they just got the Bears and Packers. That's it.
If the Jets would stop getting injured, they may be able to win some games, but they're getting too many injuries, and that's what's causing the problems.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And the Titans fired their GM recently too.
Thankfully,
because they had been struggling too.
Yes.
So, your thoughts on all of this?
Well, as I said, like the Jets have been, injured. First, Wilson went down, and then their backup quarterback suffered maybe a rib injury. Although it doesn't seem to be too serious. And plagued with the injuries. Second straight week that one of their star players hurt, but they said Jimmy G might be back, and their backup quarterback might be serious too. So they have been getting pretty lucky with their injuries, even though it's kind of like becoming, shall we say, an epidemic among star players getting hurt. It's you don't want to get hurt this time of the year when your season on the line, playoffs are looming. You want to stay as healthy as possible, especially when you're trying to fight, for your season. Now, of course, if you're the Carolina Panthers, yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned. The Denver Broncos, well, we know how they've been. So, but when you're on that cusp, 7-7 or 6-7, you want to try and get any way you can, to make that final spot, because the best thing you're gonna do is probably get that last spot. So you got to try and win every game you possibly can. And being a longtime suffering Jets fan, I know how that can be. I mean, we haven't really done too well in the last 10 years or 15 years when we had Sanchez as quarterback.
Yeah, Philadelphia Eagles being the first NFL team to reach a playoff berth. The Eagles are favorites to win the NFC East, apparently.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Still only
it wasn't
one
that long
loss
ago they
their
won
belt.
their first Super Bowl.
Still only one blemish. Yeah. The Eagles won their Super Bowl in the 2017-2018 regular season, NFL season.
Yeah. A moment we thought we'd never see. Well, it's what I thought I'd never see.
Yeah, 27-13 Patriots, but the Cardinals have the ball, 7-12 left, and they're marching down the field. They're around midfield now. So, yeah, the Cardinals are trying to make a comeback. They're 4-8. The Patriots are 6-6. Kind of like a mediocrity type of matchup, but still in
Patriots
the hunt.
still have a Patriots. Patriots have more of a realistic shot, mathematically. The Cardinals, I seriously doubt it. I mean, 4-8. They would have to win their last 5, which I don't think that's going to happen. So realistically, I don't think the Cardinals have much of a shot.
Right. I think the Patriots should hold on to this one. 6:53 left, fourth quarter. The Patriots still lead the AFC East. The last I checked, and it's no wait they don't. Wait, that's not true. Wait a second. The Buffalo Bills lead the AFC East. Josh Allen.
Yes.
Yeah. They're pretty much like the next NFL team to reach a playoff berth already. The next team.
I thought with Von Miller out, they were gonna be hurting, pretty badly, especially against the Jets. But they have shown that even without one of their star players, that they can still win. Because that injury to Miller, I thought, could have been pretty devastating.
Yeah, I just saw like a big 17-yard sack here. Wow, that's like back at inside the Cardinals' own 40. Judon on McCoy. 2nd and 23. Yes. Yowks. That's a 13-yard sack I just saw on Monday Night Football. Wow.
Yeah.
McCoy quickly throws in the pocket, caught near midfield, down at the 49. It'll be a 3rd down and almost manageable here. So 5:43 winding down, 4th quarter. McCoy, three tight ends to the left, 1 wide to the right, 1 wide out right. McCoy pump fakes, scrambles right out of the pocket, now throws, caught, but short of the 1st down. Is it complete? Yes, it is. And there's a flag on the play, too, with pausing the clock at 5:25 left to play in the 4th quarter. The officials are talking it over. Cardinals I think, are moving back. Looks like they're moving backwards. Illegal touching. Oh yeah, he stepped out of bounds before he caught it. Yeah. That's more costly yardage there. Yeah. Patriots defense has to accept that.
Some people will try anything.
No, the penalties decline. 4th and the Patriots decline the penalty. It's 4th and 13. And the Cardinals have to go for it. 5:11 winding down, 4th quarter, down 2 scores. What have the Cardinals got to lose? Sometimes
nothing
you
really.
got to take the smallest chance. And they at his own 41. Patriots take over on downs. So, yeah. Yep, Brandon Herrera, the Lions are a scary team. Congrats on the win on Sunday. Thanks very much, Brandon. Thanks very much. Yeah, like I said, the Lions beat a 10-win team by 11. Minnesota Vikings. That is amazing. Just an amazing win right there.
Would you consider the surprise team of the year, or would that go to somebody else?
The surprise team of the year would be my Lions, obviously.
I thought you would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that make me sound like a homer, but I am being realistic.
Yes. I mean, they've been perennial, cellar dwellers for so many years, or as you say, a dumpster fire. But now they're waking up.
Yeah. They remember that game against the Jaguars where the Lions smashed them 40-14. They never even punted. They never even. They only took only committed 1 penalty all game long.
Right.
That is the most disciplined and the smartest, football I had seen the Lions ever play in my lifetime. Yeah, Vikings are not a Super Bowl team, and the Lions are a surprise team for the good. The Rams are a surprise bad team because the Rams are the defending Super Bowl champs. The Rams are faltering. Matthew Stafford had suffered an injury, a former Lion quarterback.
I wonder what he was thinking. I wonder what the Lions are thinking when Stafford, left.
I know yeah. Stafford won a Super Bowl with the Rams last season, and then dramatically things changed before our very eyes. Just absolutely an absolutely shocking turn of events. The Rams faltering, Matthew Stafford suffering an injury, while Jared Goff is getting better at the game of football, and the Lions, their defense that has been shining since they fired their defensive backs coach Aubrey Pleasant. Since then, they've gone 5-1 after starting 1-6. They made a change. They're finally starting to bite kneecaps. They are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a hand to the Lions this year. I mean, they're finally, waking up.
Yeah, they're finally starting to learn how to play the game of football more consistently and in a smarter route. I think I got another. Yeah, the 2002 NFL season is crazy. Yeah, but especially with the Rams faltering and the Lions catching all the way up. Yowza, the Lions of all teams, Lewis. The Lions.
Exactly. The Lions. I never thought I'd see. I never thought I would see that day when the Lions would actually be a decent team. No offense, of course, but I mean, I've been around a long time, and I've seen good teams still being good. I've seen bad teams who kept being bad. The Jets have been rather consistent. Detroit's been a disaster. I remember when the Cowboys were
Had
lean
been.
years. Yeah, and even remember when the Giants were not so great back in the '70s. I mean, they were a trash heap. And in the '80s, they woke up. And of course, the Browns are still the Browns.
Yep. The draft assets are still there, but Lions are not focused on that. They're trying to catch right up to get at least a wild card berth.
Yeah, I never saw see that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the because the Lions are not known for being a real great team.
Right. So, with that being said, it is now time for your true sports report. Lewis, take it away.
All right, we'll start with the scores here. Right now, the Blazers are leading the Timberwolves 70-59 at the half. Right now, the Clippers are leading the Celtics 39-36 with 6:47 to go in the second quarter. I hate the Celtics. All the rest are final, as the Pacers have beaten the Heat. No, the Heat beat the Pacers 87-82. The Nets over the Wizards 112-100. It didn't look like it at first, but they did. The Grizzlies over the Hawks 128-103. The Mavericks beat the Thunder 121-114. And if you like close games, the Spurs just beat the Cavaliers 112-111. If you like close games, there was your game for that. All right, so now we'll go to these. We'll go to the standings, and then we'll do the schedule. Yeah, right now 27-13, 3:36 to go. All right, so the standings go like this. If my time. All right. Okay, so and the standings go like this.
Timberwolves just can't. Just can't put it together.
Of course, in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics are still in first place at 21-6. Have a half game lead over the Bucks at 19-7. 4.5 back of the Cavaliers at 17-11, still decent. The Nets are now looking like a better team at 17-12, 5 back. The Sixers 14-12, 6.5 back. My Knicks are catching up now nicely, 14-13, 7 back after they were 11 and 12 just a few days ago. The Hawks are 14 and 14, 7.5 back, as well as the Pacers. The Raptors are 13 and 14, 8 back, and at 8.5 back are the Miami Heat at 13 and 15. Further down the list, the Bulls are 11 and 15, 9.5 back. The Wizards 11 and 17, 10.5 back. The Hornets 7 and 20, 14 back, and your Pistons are 7 and 22, 15 back. Sorry. Okay, to the West. The Pelicans. Now that's a surprise team. 18-8 have a half lead over the Grizzlies at 18-9. The Nuggets 16-10, 2 back. 2.5 back are the Suns at 2.5 back. The Kings are 14-11, 3.5 back. The Blazers are 14-12, 4 back. Also 4 back are the Clippers, but they're 15 and 13. At 4.5 back, okay, this is kind of weird. We have the Mavericks at 14 and 13. The Warriors at 14 and 13. And the Jazz at 15 and 14. But of course, remember, all teams do not play the same days. Further down the list are the Wolves at 13 and 13, 5 back. The Lakers 11 and 15 on the Thunder, 11 and 16, 7.5 back. The Spurs 9.5 back at 9 18, and the Rockets still grounded at 8 and 18, 10 back. What happened to that team? Ugh. I mean, they were a hot team back then. Yeah, they beat my Knicks too. Dirty, no good. Okay, so now we'll check the schedule for tomorrow. Tuesday is usually a light day in the NBA, as it's only 5 games being played. So it goes like this. 7 o'clock, the Kings will take on the Sixers. Also at 7:30, the Warriors will take on the Bucks. That's a TNT game. 8 o'clock will be the Suns versus the Rockets. 9 o'clock, the Pelicans take on the Jazz. And at 10 o'clock, the Celtics will take on the Lakers. That's also a TNT game. So I got that. So now we'll turn to the ice. There we go. So this is now we're coming up on the 1/4 mark of the season. And if you like dramatic, well, I got news for you. The Rangers tonight, oh yeah. Down 2-0 against the Devils. And then they took a 3-2 lead, and then the Rangers just caught up, and they beat the Devils 4-3 in overtime. I'm a heavy camper, but I know somebody who is not. Sorry. So the Habs beat the Flames 2-1 shootout. The Penguins beat the Stars 2-1. The Senators blanked the Ducks 3-0. The Wild over the Oilers 2-1, and the Blues over the Predators 1-0 in overtime. And it took them to overtime to get that one score. That's right, there were scores for the whole regulation, and with 3-on-3 overtime, then they get the score. Well, what took you so long? Sheesh. Okay, standings. And they go like this. Oh boy. Well, it only takes one. In that case, it only takes, 1 to win, and well, they got it. I'll just never. Oh, we'll try this again. So we're coming up. So like I said, we're coming up now on the almost the midway point of the hockey season, and it's been good so far. By the way, with that win, the Rangers have now won 4 straight. So they're starting to catch up a bit. They do have a way to go to get to the Devils and the Bruins. Well, the Bruins, that's in that case altogether because they are just exploding this year, much to my dismay. But I have a colleague in Boston who is just going absolutely nuts over the team this year. So I guess I got to give it, congratulations to him so far. Oof. Yeah, I think we're at the 2-minute warning now at the the game. All right, so here we go. And there were no other games to the NHL. Okay, with that win, the Rangers should be improving the standings. It goes like this. Okay, well, the Bruins lead the Atlantic at 22-4-1 and 45 points. That's disgusting. The are 18-5-6 at 42 points. The Lightning 17-9-1, 35 points. 32 points are your Red Wings at 13-8-6. Not bad. Montreal was at 30 points at 14-12-2. The Panthers 13-12-4, 30 points. The Senators 12-14-2, 26 points. And despite the fact that Jack Eichel is no longer on the Sabres, they're still pathetic at 12-14-2 and 26 points. Metropolitan Division, the Devils 21-5-2, 44 points. I think we have to make that now 21-5-3, unless it's updated already. 44 points. The Penguins 17-8-4, 17-4, 39 points. The Hurricanes 15-6-6, 36 points. Here come the Rangers, now 16-10-5-30 at 34 points. 32 points are the Capitals at 14-12-4. The Flyers 9-13-7, 25 points, and the Blue Jackets 10-15-2, 22 points. To the West, in the Central, the Jets are 18-8-1, 37 points. Also 37 points are the Stars at 16-8-5. The Wild 15-11-2, 32 points. The Avalanche 14-10-2, 30 points. The Predators 12-11-3, 27 points. Also 27 points are the Blues at 13-15-1. The Coyotes are 9-13-4, 22 points. And the Blackhawks, so I thought we were going to do Golden Knights look to be back on top. They're 29-1, 41 points. The Kraken, big surprise here, 16-3, 35 points. And this is only in their second year of existence. Thank you very much. The Kings, 18-11-5, 35 points. 32 points of the Oilers at 13-11-5, excuse me. The Canucks, 12-13-3, 27 points. The Sharks, 9-16-5, 23 points. And the Ducks, 7-19-3, 17 points. I have 2 words to say for that. I'm sorry. What can I say? All right, so now we'll go over the schedule tomorrow. Tuesday is usually a big night in the league, and I don't think there should be any exception. So we'll start with this. The Islanders take on the Bruins at 7. Also at 7 o'clock tomorrow are the Kings at the Sabres, the Hurricanes at your Red Wings, the Blue Jackets at the Panthers. The Stars take on the Devils. The Kraken take on the Lightning. The Ducks take on the Maple Leafs. 8 o'clock games. The Oilers take on the Predators. The Knights take on the Jets. 9 o'clock, the Capitals take on the Blackhawks out there. Okay. The Flyers take on the Avalanche at 9. And to wrap up 10:30, the Coyotes take on the Sharks. All right, so now we'll go to the NFL. since their season is beginning to wind down. Yep, and December 20, and of course the Saturday games start this week in the NFL. So keep that in mind because this is the time of year when they actually do these Saturday games. As now the college football season is now, well, the regular season is now officially over. And now we just start doing the bowl games, which begin on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Well, the second tier bowl games, I should say. All right, so we'll go to the scores, and the scores go like this, counting all of yesterday's games as well. All right, so it is now over. The Patriots have beaten the Cardinals 27-13. The Rams pull off a shocker, 17-16, and did that all in the fourth quarter as Baker Mayfield scored a 98-yard run to beat the Raiders 17-16 in a shocking finish. Wow. The Bills beat the Jets 20-12. Yeah. The Bengals beat the Browns 23-10. My Cowboys pulled off a last-minute touchdown miracle to beat the Texans 27-23. Oh yeah. Your Lions over the Vikings 34-23. Surprise, surprise. Jaguars over the Titans 36-22. The Eagles beat up the floor with the Giants 48-22. My nephew was at the game yesterday, and he is ticked off. Ravens over the Steelers 16-14. Chiefs over the Broncos in a very entertaining game, 34-28. 49ers over the Buccaneers, 35-7. Tom Brady looked actually awful and probably aged 10 years in one day. Panthers over the Seahawks, 30-24. The Chargers over the Dolphins, 23-17. All right, so let's look at the schedule for next week because it's that time of year, as we say. And the schedule goes like this. And I believe there still is a Thursday game, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so here we go. Yeah, I believe there would be there's a game. I think the Thursday game's ended the last week of the season. All right. So we'll go to it's week 15 of the NFL season. Oh boy. So if they really want to get if teams want to get their act together, they better do it right now. Yeah. And and like I said, the Patriots to beat the Cardinals 27-13. Okay. All right, so here we go. The 49ers will take on the Seahawks 8:15 on Thursday. Your Saturday games are the Colts versus the Vikings at 1 o'clock. The Ravens take on the Browns at 4:30. And the Dolphins take on the Bills at 8:15. All Saturday games. Sunday, it goes this way. The Eagles take on the Bears. The Falcons take on the Pelicans. The Saints, or we call them the Aints. Your Lions against my Jets at 1 o'clock. Okay, this is going to be fun. Steelers take on the Panthers. The Cowboys take on the Jaguars. The Chiefs take on the Texans. Those are the 1 o'clock games. 4 o'clock games, or 4:05, whatever you want to call it. The Cardinals will take on the Broncos. The Patriots take on the Raiders. 4:25, the Titans will take on the Bolts, real name the Chargers. They do call them Bolts too. The Bengals will take on the Bucks, and the Giants will take on the whatever you want to call them, Washington, whatever, Commanders, Redskins, or whatever. That's the 8:20 game. That game was moved recently to the 8:20 game as they do the flex schedule. And 8:15, the Rams take on the Packers, and that game will also be on ABC as well. Thank goodness. Yeah. Monday Night Football on ABC. Doesn't get any better than that. All right, so our standings go like this. Yeah, the Bills still lead the AFC East 10-3-0. The Dolphins 8-5-0. The Jets are 7-6-0. And the Patriots are now 7-6-0 as of tonight. The Ravens lead the North at tied with the Bengals at 9-4. The Browns are 5-8, and the Steelers are also 5-8. What can I say? The South, the Titans are 7-6. The Jaguars are 5-8. The Colts are 4-8-1, and the Texans are now eliminated at 11-1. The West, Chiefs are 10-3. Chargers 7-6. The Raiders 5-8-0, and the Broncos eliminated at 4-10-0. What a surprise! Eagles get the playoff spot as they're 12-1-0. Cowboys 10-4-0, 10-3-0, looking for that wild card spot. And the Commanders and Giants are both tied at 7-5-1. Both teams tied each other last week. I wonder what's going to be this week. We'll find out. The North, the Vikings 10-3-0. Your Lions 6-7-0. Packers 5-8-0. And Bears are eliminated at 3-10-0. My brother's going to kill me. To the pathetic NFC South. This is disgusting. The Bucks have the lead at 6-7-0. The Panthers are 5-8-0, along with the Falcons, and the Aints, or the Saints we call them, 4-9-0. To the West, 49ers 9-4-0, Seahawks 7-6-0, the Cardinals 4-8-0, I think now 4-9-0, and the Rams are 4-9-0. Well, I guess you can say it's breaking up the team when you try winning the Super Bowl. Now you want to try and make them miserable any way you can, just so they don't win again. That's what their job is. I mean, everybody expects them to do well after they win the Super Bowl, but then you get that Super Bowl hangover, and then you break up the team and whatnot, so they wouldn't really have much of a chance to repeat.
Wow, I mean, yeah, that's really on the general man. That's really on the general manager.
Yeah, it is. But well, I've seen that. I've seen it happen too, where teams did won the Super Bowl one year, and then the next year they're like, just either like slightly above 500, or they have a terrible season. The Giants did that twice.
Yeah.
Right.
For the Broncos though, they're already. The Broncos though they've slipped. I forgot to tell you. Yeah, they just really slipped, and Chef Russell Wilson just has continued to cook raw meat, cook and serve raw meat inside Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, to a bunch of Lions, not your Lions, but actual Lions. Okay, University of Texas has suspended men's basketball coach Chris Beard after his arrest. Assault charges early this morning. The school announced that he'd been suspended without pay until further notice. According to the arrest affidavit, first reported by the American Statesman, a woman told police that that was his fiance, and they had been involved together in a relationship for the last 6 years. But then the couple then got into a heated argument, and he became increasingly violent, and she broke his glasses. He was arrested early this morning about 4:15 a.m. and was booked at the county jail. So not very good here. So, and it was after an argument, and he just snapped and went absolutely ape. Domestic violence. I've seen too much of that. So there's more of the story here. He was going through the booking process at Travis County Jail, that according to the senior public officer, Kristen Dark. I believe that was her name. And there should be more information on this. Yeah. He was in our custody, said Dark, who is in our booking process. Beer was arrested by Austin police, booked around 4:18 a.m. I was not up at that hour, and was on third-degree assault charges. Austin police say they received a disturbance call, and officers were dispatched to the 1900 block of Vista Lane shortly after midnight. The police department's website describes a hotshot call as incidents which are in progress in instant threat to life and public safety. Those calls were dispatched immediately, and he could face anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison. That's all. That's just too much. All right. Pistons guard Cade Cunningham. The season comes to an abrupt end as he will have surgery on his left shin, as told by ESPN. Sorry to break the news to you. Cunningham,
Yeah,
who
I
has been
heard that.
sidelined, yeah, just know how to break it to you. Sidelined since November 9th, he consulted with doctors in recent weeks and decided with the Pistons and his representatives at XL Sports to undergo a procedure that is to have him expected to make a full recovery, though, and in time for training camp next season, if that's any consolation. Cunningham took a month to see if rest and rehab would improve the shin, but made the decision to go forward with the surgery. Before he made the decision, he was in 12 games this season, averaging 19.9 per game and 6.2 rebounds. That's the only good news about them because right now they are dead last at 7-22. Wow.
7-22. Wow. Yeah. Now, Kate. Now, Pistons. A lot of Piston fans on Twitter are overreacting and complaining about and using it as an excuse for their record. But no, it's it's not the main problem, to say the least. The main problem is their head coach, Dwayne Casey. He does not scheme properly, or at all for that matter, and he doesn't coach the team in any way, shape, or form. He just does nothing but complain at the officiating. And
well, way to go!
Claps his hands and coddles his own team like a bunch of little leaguers.
Yeah, way to go, stupid.
He brought his falling dinosaur with him from Toronto to Detroit after 2018. After 2018.
Had to bring it across the border, huh? Okay. Oh boy. Okay. First up, U.S. Soccer almost ended up sending midfielder Giovanni Reyna home for the World Cup due to a lack of effort during training camp and a pre-tournament scrimmage. Reyna did not start any of the games for the U.S., but did play in the second half in their final match against the Netherlands, which they lost 3-1. Yuck. The sources add that Reyna apologized for his lack of effort. The disclosure came when head coach Greg Bertenhalter spoke at the Howe Institute in New York on moral leadership last week. His comments were later published by Chatterworks, where there was a U.S. player who was not living up to expectations both on and off the field, namely Redknapp. One of the 26 players, so it stood out. As a staff, we sat together for hours on what measures to take. We were ready to ship him back to the States, and that's how extreme it got. So it was downright ugly. And that's right why we lost in that first game as well. Ugh. The Pelicans look to be the surprise team of the NBA this year as they beat the Suns yesterday and hold the top spot in the West. The game was a close one as Chris Paul sent the game into overtime with a bucket with 2.8 seconds left of regulation. But it was the Pelicans who prevailed in overtime to keep leading the West. Pelicans forward Zion Williamson, who scored 35 points, said being at the top, even at this point in the season, is important. And I happen to agree with that. It is important this time of year. We are number one in the West right now, said Zion. I know a lot of people are saying it's not a big deal right now because it's still early in the season. But to be in that position is huge. We don't just want to hold it, we want to build on it. Point well taken. Williamson had a chance to win regulation, but the basket did not fall before time expired. Both teams were looking for their first win in overtime this season. as the previous as this was the Pelicans' fourth overtime game of the season and lost the previous three prior to yesterday, while the Suns have only lost one, and that was to the Blazers in the first week of the season. Williamson started the scoring overtime possession. The Suns answered back with a three-pointer by Torrey Craig, but then the Pelicans answered back with a 9-0 run of their own. But that run was almost cut short midway through overtime when Williamson was called for a foul on Suns guard Paul White as he shot a three-pointer. But wait, there's more. Pelicans coach Willie Green challenged the call, saying White stuck his leg out as Williamson flying by. After a review, officials overturned the call to an offensive foul, giving White his sixth. So bye-bye to you. This was their seventh straight victory over the Pelicans, who are now 18-8 on the season. And while the Suns, although are 16-11, have now lost four in a row. So, got the good and the bad. Oh, and tomorrow for you World Cup fans out there, Croatia versus Argentina. I know how I'm going for. All right. Joel Embiid seems to be on a roll here. He has scored 53 points and 11 rebounds in last night's win over the Hornets. Embiid becomes the third player in franchise history to have multiple 50-point games in a season. And this was Embiid's 30th game of the season by scoring at least 40 points and 10 rebounds. We won, Embiid said. It's good that after you win, I'm just happy to contribute as we are winning. James Harden, not a bad game either. 19 points, 16 rebounds, and 16 assists, and 9 rebounds. Not bad. He was in attack mode the entire game, said Harden. He made scoring look easy. He was aggressive in getting to the basket, and his jumper was falling. We did not run, but we played with pace. I got open shots, said that by head coach Doc Rivers, who was once a player for the Knicks. Embiid took control in the final 3 minutes of the second quarter, scoring 15 of his first half 28 points in a stretch, exploiting a mismatch with Mason Plumlee. Kelly Oubre and Terry Rozier both scored 29 points for the Hornets, but it was not enough as they lost their fifth straight. The Coyotes ended their 19-game losing streak against the Bruins thanks to a late goal by Lawson Course in the third period. It was the second longest streak against an opponent when the Montreal Canadiens beat the Capitals 23 straight times from 1974 to 1978. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, if you want some encouraging news here, I got some news for you. And if you're a Penguins fan, might be even better. Chris Letang made his return on Saturday night after suffering his second stroke just 12 days earlier, saying that means the world to our team, says Coach Mike Sullivan. He had 25 shifts in a 3-1 victory over the Sabres and was on ice for 22 minutes and 14 seconds. He finished with 7 hits, 3 block shots, and took 2 penalties, though. Letang returned to the Pens as Pens finished a back-to-back sweep against the Capitals and the Sabres. Letang's stroke was caused by a small hole in his heart. The second was caused by massive headaches and nausea, but the symptoms seemed to be much smaller than the first, that according to the team doctor. Bad if he had 1 stroke, but 2 of them. Wow. And the NHL suspended Kraken defenseman Jamie Olsrich for 3 games for an illegal check. Oh boy. The League Department of Safety reviewed the check to the head of Capitals defenseman Alexander Alexei on Friday, announcing the decision on the department's Twitter page. The penalty was called near the midway point of the second period. It was reviewed to confirm the decision that Olesic was ejected. Forward Daniel Sprong served the penalty for the Kraken. Some people never learn. Luka Doncic did not play for the Mavericks on Saturday as he suffered a right quad strain. Um, Doc mentioned he was feeling a quad strain after Friday's win over the Bucks, where he had 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. DeMar DeRozan scored 28 points for the Bulls and 9 rebounds. Nikolai Voronik scored 20 points and 8 rebounds, leading them to a second straight victory. Mavericks were also without Maxi Kelber, right foot soreness, and Josh Green with a right elbow sprain. Both played the previous night. All right. First in a rematch of last season's finals, the Warriors beat the Celtics on Saturday night in one of their best and most complete games of the season, and playing like the defending champions. Entering the game, the Celtics were the better of the two teams, but the Warriors dominated much of the game, with the Celtics only having a 1 point lead in the first quarter. As he walked back to the locker room, Draymond Green called it a statement win for the Warriors. That team has struggled through the first part of the season, well, the early part anyway. Jordan Poole said it was an example just how talented the Warriors are. Well, yeah, you did win the NBA championship the previous just a few months ago, so yeah. Warriors, Coach Steve Kerr occurred on both counts. Agreed, especially with the way they have played this year, and they have been so dominant. I thought we needed a game like that to Kerr. It feels like we've been stuck in the mud. It feels like we've gotten better, yet not much to show for it. This was an important win for us. Stephon Curry, 32 points on 12 for 21 shooting, including 3 3-pointers. Klay Thompson had 34 points on 14 for 26 shooting, with 4 3-point shots made. And the Warriors are back at 500, which is even better. All right. More news for you soccer fans. Portugal coach Fernando Santos said he did not regret benching Cristiano Ronaldo despite the loss to Morocco. Ronaldo came off the bench in the 51st minute of the game despite being down 1-0. Ronaldo could not muster a comeback, and Morocco became the first team of a nation of Africa to advance to the World Cup semi-final. The semifinals will be played tomorrow and Wednesday, with the championship on Sunday. The Nets were resting players, a slew of players, the last night's game with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and a slew of other players against the Pacers. Durant had a right knee injury management. Irving had tightness problems with soreness. Simmons had soreness to his calf and knee. T.J. Warren had a left foot injury. Nick Claxton, right hamstring. Seth Curry, right ankle. Royce O'Neal, personal reasons. And Joe Harris with left knee injury management. All were sitting out the game against the Pacers on a second night of a back-to-back. I ask you, what is this? A basketball team or a MASH unit? I mean, really. Yeah. In fact, I think they even got their own medical ward. Ugh, just awful. All right. So moving along here. And I don't know if anybody knows about the tragedy that happened over the week at the World Cup, but American soccer journalist Grant Wall died late on Friday after covering the Netherlands-Argentina match, and that was in extra time. U.S. media seated near him said Wall fell back into his seat at the press box during extra time. Reporters rushed to his side and called for an ambulance. Emergency service workers responded quickly. The reports said later that he was told that Wall had passed. He was just 48 years old. Just a This unspeakable moment. There was rumors that foul play was involved, and maybe that might be the case. He received medical treatment on site and continued as he was transferred to the hospital, the World Cup committee said in a statement. Wall was covering his 8th World Cup. He wrote last Monday on his website that he received medical care while he was covering the World Cup. It does sound pretty strange, though. Jazz point guard Mike Conley made his return after missing 9 games with a left knee strain back on Friday. The Jazz were still shorthanded in the backcourt as Sexton replaced Conley, and Lamp will miss at least a week with a mild hamstring. During Conley's absence, the Jazz went 3-6, but since then have won 4 out of the last 5 games. Following the loss to Croatia back on Friday, Neymar said he was unsure if he would ever play for Brazil again. Uh-oh. Speaking to reporters after the game, Neymar said, "I don't know what I'm thinking right now because it was the heat of the moment. To say that this is the end would be premature. However, I'm not guaranteeing anything either. Let's see what happens going forward." Early in the match, Neymar tied Pele's all-time international goal total of 77, and throughout the game was in hand. Boy, were we wrong about that. As Bruno Petrovic scored the tying goal in the 117th minute. The game went to a penalty shootout. Neymar did not take a shot because he was signed as the 5th and last taker, but Marquinhos missed the net and sent Croatia to the semis, who will now face Argentina, who also won a shootout over the Netherlands, which was even more dramatic than that, as that came down to like the last 30 seconds of regulation, and that went to a shootout. That was my heart stopped on that one. It's just that was a shock right there. Moving on to other news. Yeah, so I'll be set for that. I'll be set for that game tomorrow. It's amazing though that as great as Lionel Messi has been, he has never won a World Cup. I don't know about you, but I want to see him win it. You have the 3 best players in this tournament. You had Neymar, Ronaldo, and Messi, and Messi's now the only one still there. So now we have to wait and see what happens with this matchup. So I'm looking forward to that game. That game was at 2:00 in the East tomorrow afternoon, and the other match will take place on Wednesday. To see with that, and of course, we all know about the big move in Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge, 9 years, $320 million with the Yankees. Am I surprised by that? To be honest, no. I mean, he is the face of the franchise, and the Yankees were going to do everything in their power to get him. Mets shouldn't be too displeased because they got Justin Verlander for a deal as well. But I don't know how he's going to stack up against the National League. And his age too. He's not getting any younger. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I think as the winter meetings have also wrapped up, and 18 players were signed, and It was a total of 1.6 billion that was made in those in those signings. 1.6 billion. I don't know about you, but I'm stunned. Okay. All right. So here we go. And of course, now with that free agency's over, now we just wait for about another 7 or 8 weeks before training camp. Okay. When the 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan spoke to reporters this morning, there was not much to say in the way of updates on injuries to updates on key players such as Debo Samuel and Brock Purdy. That's because both players are a handful of 49ers players having further testing done to determine the severity of their injuries. 49ers is a banged up unit right now. After a few hours at the 49ers headquarters, they got what was their only to be described as positive news in the wake of what has all been makings of a devastating Sunday on the injury front. According to the team, Samuel suffered MCL in his left knee and a sprained left ankle. He'll miss some time, but there are no broken bones and is expected to return before the regular season is over. Purdy is listed as day-to-day was called a rib and oblique injury. Moving on. The flirting with OBJ going to the Cowboys might not be over, but that didn't stop them from adding longtime receiver TJ Hilton to the lineup today. The timing is right, says Coach Mike McCarthy. He is also the go, and he is in excellent condition, especially for this time of the year. Mm-hmm. Moving on. Right now, because you had to be at this time of year when you only got like 4 or 5 games left. Hilton has not played for anyone this season, but the Cowboys felt they needed help in the wide receiver position. In 10 seasons for the Colts, there we go, Hilton has caught 631 passes for 9,631 yards and 53 touchdowns, and as a 4-time Pro Bowler. Hilton played 10 games last season with 23 catches for 331 yards and 3 scores. Okay, continuing on. Cowboys confirmed today they lost right tackle Terrence Steele as he suffered an ACL and an MCL injury in yesterday's win over the Texans. Yep, a double whammy. Steele started every game this season and 40 of 45 games since he came to the Cowboys as an undrafted free agent in the 2020 season. The Washington Commanders activated quarterback Carson Wentz off injury reserve, but won't return to the starting lineup. Coach Ron Rivera said last week when Wentz returned, he would be the backup to Taylor Heineke when the Commanders host the Giants next week. Washington had till Wednesday to decide either to activate Wentz or place him on injured reserve. Wentz has not played since injuring his right ring finger in a win over the Bears on October 13th. Again, during his absence, the Commanders have been 5-1-1 under Heineke. With that tie coming last week. Justin Herbert faked a handoff, then sent a pass and went flying through the air. With the greatest of ease, Herbert's 55 rocket launch landed on the outstretched arms of Mike Williams, and the home crowd went wild. The pass game came on a 6-play drive that ended with a field goal that led the Bolts to the victory over the Dolphins and keeping the Chargers' playoffs hopes alive for their first playoff appearance in 4 years. But for Herbert, the deep completion meant more than just another moment for the highlight reel, as he passed former Colts quarterback Andrew Luck for yards marked by a quarterback in his first 3 seasons. So there's a milestone in that. Herbert passed for 13,056 yards in 44 starts. Luck had 12,597 passing yards in his first 3 seasons, followed by Peyton Manning, who passed for 12,287 yards in his first 3 seasons. Wide receiver Keenan Allen has got 240 passes for 2,530 passing yards in his nearly 3 seasons with Herbert. Wow. All right. Jets quarterback Mike White took a pounding in yesterday's loss, now Sunday's loss, to the Bills, and ended up in the hospital for tests on an injured rib, but had solidified the starting job for the rest of the season. The Jets are now 1-2 since White took over for Zach Wilson as their Jets quarterback, and will face the Lions on Sunday. Yeah.
God, I'm stoked for that matchup.
So am I. Yes, for sure, said Coach Robert Saleh, endorsing White, who joined the team on a flight back home. As Saleh spoke, White was stepping onto an ambulance. Oh boy, that can't be good. In the stadium tunnel, he checked out well after an evaluation that included an X-ray hit to his ribs by Bills linebacker Matt Milano. White spent time with the medical staff in the locker room, but did finish the game earning praise from his teammates. After a post-game evaluation, it was decided to take White to the hospital for additional testing. But as Coach Saleh pointed out, it was just for precautionary measures more than anything. The Jets now fall to 7-6 on the year, and they have their first 2-game losing streak of the season. Defensive end Quentin Williams is day-to-day with a calf injury, yet despite the news, the Jets remain positive. I don't see how, but they do. I mean, all the injuries and stuff, you would think, there wouldn't be so much to be positive about. No, that's the way I look at it. Yo, Russell, okay. All right, Mississippi State football coach Mike Leach was hospitalized yesterday after suffering personal health issues early in the day, said by a press release. Leach was transported by ambulance to the University Medical Center after having a health issue at home. The university said there was no further comment at this time. Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson left yesterday's game against the Chiefs in the fourth quarter with a concussion. Okay. On 3rd and 11 on the Chiefs 16, pulled down the ball and ran to the Chiefs 2-yard line. Tackled by L. Jars Sneed. Wilson's head hit the ground. He was on the ground for several minutes and appeared to be woozy as he's helped to the sideline with the medical staff, and was then taken to the injury tent and then to the locker room. Before the injury, Wilson was 23 for 36 passing for 247 yards and 3 touchdowns, and helped the Broncos to come back from trailing 27-0 in the second quarter. But Wilson threw 2 touchdown passes to Jerry Jeudy just before the half. Judge Judy's 5th cousin. No. Oh boy. So Deebo Samuel left the game yesterday against the Bucs with a left knee injury with 5 minutes to go in the half, and was ruled out by the third quarter. On a 2nd and 9 from the Bucs 43, Samuel took a handoff from the quarterback Brock Purdy, ran up the middle as a pair of Bucs defenders converged on Samuel as he attempted to spin out and appeared to get his left knee twisted in an awkward position. Samuel fumbled the ball, and the Bucs recovered and was down in pain. Samuel briefly stood up and appeared to hobble to the sideline with help from the medical staff, but then dropped back to the ground and yelled out a choice word that was picked up by the official's mic. I think we know what that word might be. A car came soon after taking Samuel to the locker room. Samuel has his hand on his left knee and his head down on the cart heading to the tunnel. Ugh, just awful. All right, so it's Argentina versus Croatia tomorrow and France versus Morocco on Wednesday. For you World Cup crazies like me. Lamar Jackson could miss the next 2 games as he's still battling with a knee injury. Jackson is dealing with the sprained PCL. Sources said injury that usually sidelines players from 1 to 3 weeks. The former league MVP wasn't active for yesterday's game against the Ravens, and it could be a challenge for this week's game against the Browns, though the Ravens are still holding up their hope. It is more realistic that Jackson will return for the Christmas Eve birds. You call them the Falcons. There is also a chance that Jackson may not be at full strength, though, for the rest of the season as well. The Giants got some good news as running back Saquon Barkley was activated for yesterday's game against the Eagles, said by Coach Brian Dabble, as he told ESPN. A little good to do, though. Sources told ESPN that Barkley was a 50-50 shot for the game. As he told ESPN on Sunday, he wanted to see how he felt in pregame warm-ups before making a decision on whether to play or not. Barkley was listed as questionable as a result of a neck injury and was on the injury report for the first time last Thursday. He was in limited practice on Thursday and Friday as well. Dabble said this week that he did not occur in Wednesday's practice as Barkley was a full participant. He did practice. USC quarterback Caleb Williams won the Heisman Trophy, although really not a surprise. 14 months ago, Williams was a backup at Oklahoma Red River rivalry game against Texas, hoping to give the Sooners a spark, as one might expect. Now he's a Heisman Trophy winner. Williams outraced Georgia's Stetson Bennett, Max Duggan of TCU, and C.J. Stroud of Ohio State for the award. He threw for 4,075 yards and 37 touchdowns, rushing for 372 yards, rushing with 10 touchdowns and just 4 interceptions. Of course, there was no really any doubt that he was going to win that award anyway. And I think I had a little bit more information on that. Oh, and the NBA is now going to do what hockey does by awarding a regular season trophy to the team with the best record. Think of it like the NBA version of the President's Trophy for hockey, and that begins this year. I don't think I got the name of what's going to be called, but that should be interesting, and that'll be discussed on my show on Saturday, the Enhanced Sports Show, which will be the final show of the season. I am not doing a show on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve because that would seem a little weird. So, just a few more articles. I think I should be done here. Yeah, so that Heisman Trophy. I mean, I think everybody, was thinking unanimous. Although I thought maybe C.J. Stroud might have had, one more shot. Oh, please. And here's an insulting sign. Cowboys fans, dear God, please give us a sign that the Cowboys will make it to the Super Bowl this season. Oh, please. I don't know if they make the Super Bowl.
Not NFL caliber.
No, you're probably not. I mean, yeah, he went to a good school. He did a good job for quarterbacking for Ohio State, but yeah, you're probably right. I don't think he's an NHL caliber either. Well, one could hope.
I think Lewis
or
so
yeah, a lot of them are complaining about Max Dugan though, saying they should have been in the running at all. All right. And the for the ridiculous end of the week, the Saints coaches and defense end Cameron Jordan were fined $500,000 for pulling one of the oldest tricks in the book, faking an injury during a loss to the Bucks. Source ESPN. The team was fined $350,000, which says Allen fined $100,000. Defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen $50,000, and Jordan's $50,000 for their roles in the fourth quarter mishap. All parties do plan to appeal the fines, as one would expect. So midway through the fourth, Jordan took to the sideline before taking a knee as Bucks quarterback Tom Brady stepped into his center on a 4th and 10 play. Jordan appeared to point his leg before going to the ground, forcing the delay. The Bucks then decided to punt after the injury timeout. Cameron appeared to acknowledge being fined in a tweet message, saying the most expensive fine to date came to the league a few days ago. The Saints have not yet commented on the matter. Yeah, dirty tactic indeed. And like I said, some people will try anything. And I believe that and the college football awards were also handed out, and it was not too many surprises as well. That was handed out on Thursday. And Josh Downs of North Carolina is heading for the NFL draft. Downs ranked 4th among wide receivers for the April draft, that according to draft analyst Todd McShay, making him one of the top receiving prospects available for NFL teams. Yeah. So another one tries to bolt early and head to the NFL. Well, at least he made it to his junior year. I mean, I don't particularly like him going so early. I think that's just pushing your luck if you try to go. Well, I had a great first season, so I think I'm ready. Yeah, ask Johnny Manziel about that, okay? So he's coming off back-to-back of more than 1,000 yards receiving for North Carolina, and caught 20. He rose to number 4 on the all-time receiving list with 2,843 receiving yards and second in all-time in touchdown catches. Downs has indicated that he will not play in the Holiday Bowl against Oregon. I guess he figures, nah, I'm done my college career. I'm not doing that stuff. And finally, the college football awards were handed out on Thursday night, and quarterback Caleb Williams stole the show. Williams was named the Walter Camp Player of the Year award and also won the Maxwell Award for the best overall player in college football. Think of it as their version of the MVP. Williams is the first USC player to win the Maxwell Award since running back Marcus Allen way back when, 1981. I was only a boy. Accounting for 47 touchdowns and passed for 4,075 yards, lead Trojans to an 11-2 season by losing the Pac-12 championship to Utah. Although I thought that game could have went either way. So he did that, and I think it's going to wrap up for me, so I'll just turn back over to you.
All right, that's episode 28 of True Sports. He's Lewis, I'm Taylor. We'll be back next week for episode 29. Ta-ta, Hannibal the Hind.
Good night, folks.